Cypress Financial Group presents the Retirement Roundtable Podcast with John Scallan. Get more at cypressfinancial.net. Now, let's get to the show.
I saw a fascinating statistic that I wanted to get y'all's opinion on. It said 52% of adults, they refuse to call an advisor, not because of trust or they don't feel like they have enough money, but because they would rather do it on their own. John Scallan, isn't that a dangerous way of thinking when it comes to DIY retirement planning?
Mark, I'm going to steal one of your lines, and I'm going to say, if you're one of those do-it-yourselfers, call me at 504-732-1001 and let us at the very least give you a second opinion. Let us give you a portfolio x-ray. Let us sit down and give you a professional opinion if your expertise is really guiding you in the right direction. You know, we do a lot of work for nonprofits at the local libraries. We do, dinner educational events and seminars. And one of the things that we really, really try to communicate to our guests is simply this. We are going to treat you with courtesy, professionalism, respect. We're going to treat you like someone who's a part of our family. There'll never be any pressure, but what there will be is over 40 years of being in the trenches, helping people through financial obstacles, helping people in retirement, helping people preparing for retirement. People are busy. It's once said that change is one thing, but the pace of change, especially in the financial world. Markets are changing, products are changing, investment opportunities are changing. So if you are a do-it-yourselfer and you are not in this, hard every week, doing an analysis, watching the needle move, again, the worst thing that you could possibly do is not get a second opinion. If you give us a call at 504-732-1001, we are going to give you real, valid, important information that at the very least will send you home and allow you to sleep better at night.
And how often do you find that somebody has that DIY approach and then you find out, well, there's a lot of little adjustments that need to be made? How often does that happen?
Well, let's talk about the real basics. What about rebalancing? Someone goes into a portfolio, they kind of go through a self-questionnaire. They say, all right, I'm a 60-40, right? A lot of these big box investors or some of these online trading carriers will help you do a self-assessment on what the ideal allocation should be. So you go in, you do this questionnaire, you're a 60-40. Well, what happens when the market gets hot like it has been over the past couple of years? Now that 60% equity has ballooned up to 80% of the portfolio's value. Your fixed income amount is down to 20%. And just like that, in a relatively short period of time, you are way more aggressive into your investment portfolio than you originally intentioned. That's what a second opinion will do.
Fascinating question coming in from one of our radio listeners. And he made the comment that he's got some money, but it's tied up in an annuity and a CD. And that's the phrasing, John, that really kind of caught me when he said the money is tied up. So if I take advantage of an annuity, which a lot of people seem to like, am I not able to access any of that money? What does he mean by tied up in an annuity or a CD?
Well, remember, annuities are long-term financial products. They're often used in a sound retirement plan. Now, while these annuities usually have some liquidity, meaning a 10% free withdrawal privilege, meaning if you have $100,000 in the contract, you should be able to pull, in most of these contracts, $10,000 out without a penalty. Again, this is part of a much longer conversation because, depending on if you're under 59 and a half or over 59 and a half, there may be tax penalties. There may be other taxes on whether it's an IRA or whether it's an after-tax bucket of money. Let's talk about CDs. Most CDs from a good, solid bank, should you want to get out of that CD early. Let's say you're in an old CD, you're making 2%, you see a 6% interest rate on a money market account. You basically have to call the bank, find out what it's going to take to get out of that financial investment, and what are the penalties, what are the taxes. So, tied up is an interesting word when you are dealing with these type of investments. There are some handcuffs on how to access the money. With that being said, with the right financial plan, and I've said this over and over again, the key to any solid financial long-term plan is liquidity. Do I have money that I can get to in the event of emergency, in the event that I have an investment opportunity of a lifetime? We would put you into a situation where you would have access to cash because, again, we believe that liquidity piece is one of the key components to any long-term financial plan.
With interest rates finally starting to drop, does that affect annuities in a good or a bad way, or CDs in a good or a bad way? Would now be the best time to jump on to an annuity before these interest rates continue to drop?
Well, I think that's certainly a really big consideration. Again, 10-year treasuries are at or near a 20-year high. Think about it. When an insurance company takes money in for an annuity, they can't just go drop it and invest it in coal mines in China. Because these insurance companies have to have capital reserves, a huge part of the premiums that they take in go into high-quality bonds, first and foremost, U.S. Treasuries. With these treasuries being at, close to a 20-year high, yes, insurance carriers can give more. Mark, I do want to emphasize, if you are in an annuity, usually there's a surrender charge, but we run into clients all the time that have no more surrender charge. They've been in the contract for 6 or 7 or 8 years, and the contract is free of any penalties to move it or to take liquidity. So yes, it is a great time. Yes, insurance carriers can and have been doing significantly more. So back to that, free x-ray, back to that second opinion, come and see us. If you have one of these old contracts, we'll tell you exactly what you have, what you can and can't do with it, and potentially put you in a significantly better situation. Listen, the old days of having, a few people sitting at a desk making decisions on how insurance carriers invest their money are gone. These carriers are just packed full of Ivy League finance guys, top of their class, running their investment desks to really maximize the potential for safety and growth. Remember, an annuity, most annuities have 100% downside protection. Now listen, we look at an annuity as just a piece of the puzzle, but in the right situation, with the right clients who has the right need, these annuities pack a solid punch in really stabilizing anyone's financial portfolio.
Okay, something we're always working about, building retirement income. But we want to be able to keep more of our money. And who wants most of our money? Uncle Sam. Let's talk about taxes here for just a minute. How are you helping us prepare to keep more of our money with tax strategies?
First and foremost, you always look at the power of tax deferral. Listen, there have been a whole lot of rhetoric about, who's going to increase taxes, who's not going to increase taxes. One thing that I can say, if you look at the market, let's talk about the past 30 years. If you were exclusively invested in stocks, you're talking about a gain of over 10% over the past 30 years. Over the past 10 years, the S&P 500, you're talking about gains of north of 13%. Think about the last 30 years, multiple administrations, Democrat, Republican, multiple changes to estate tax laws, constant threats of, taxing capital gains and unrealized gains. Listen, nothing has happened yet. The tax deferral, the benefits of putting money tax-free into IRAs, being able to withdraw tax-free income from Roth IRAs, in spite of all of the rhetoric, these sound fundamental principles of what we have to work with now are still here. They're still valid. And if you come in and sit down with us, we will make sure that you're maximizing all these opportunities to have a comfortable, stress-free retirement for you and your family.
Investment advisory services offered through Cypress Financial Group, a registered investment advisor firm. Registration is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities offered through Cypress Financial Group, John Scallan, Louisiana Insurance License Number 1064997. The firms are separate entities. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company and are not offered by Cypress Financial Group. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties.